The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Nick Fantasy. Sign up with code SGPN to get 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Also brought to you by Rhythm. So we're crushing college football in the NFL Rhythm. Get a 70 for today. Link to sportsgambling.com, which is RATHMM. And welcome, everybody, to the Tennis Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is currently Saturday morning, roughly 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time on November 16th. I'm Rosso, Scott Reichel, once again going solo for this pod. Time to get into the semifinal matches here in Turin for the ATP Finals. So once again, to preview the matchups between Fritz and Zverev, as well as the matchup between Sinner and Ruud. So you can preview both those matches taking place on Saturday. But for that, though, do want to recap what happened in the last episode, both for the actual lock and dog picks and for the matches from Thursday and Friday. Starting off with the lock and dog picks, overall great episode. Ended up sweeping, had the over in the Alcaraz and Zverev match, had the over 22.5 games, minus 120, got there as the match ended in a tiebreak and a 6-4. So got there by the slimmest of margins, laying to 23, but nice win nonetheless, and we picked up a nice win for the lock. For the dog, picked up a nice win. Had a good price with Ruud on the money line at plus 146. Insane price for Rublev, who simply put is just not that good right now. And with his, I'd say, mental issues at the moment, I thought that the price was insane. Thought it'd be close to a pick'em. Thought it'd be a close match, and it was, as Ruud did win in 3. But insane price on Ruud, took the value, and it paid off as Ruud got the job done, and it actually advanced into the semis as he eliminated Alcaraz from the actual event by winning this match against Rublev. A nice win there for the lock and the dog picks. And for the actual matchups, briefly getting into them, not going to spend too much time looking at the matchups on Thursday. Fritz and de Minaur had the first 3-setter of the entire event, as de Minaur did win the first set. Fritz came back and he won the next 2 sets, 6-4, 6-3. Too much firepower. De Minaur, kind of the issue of the entire event, just didn't have enough, I'd say, weapons to match the guys he was against in his group, and as a result, he ended up finishing dead last with an 0-3 record. Fritz, though, nice comeback win, as he won and advanced into the semifinals. As for Sinner, he dominated against Medvedev again, as he got the job done there, 6-3, 6-4. Said before, I thought Sinner would win every match in straight sets for this event, and currently that is the case. We're into the semis, and Sinner still not dropped a set. For the matches on once again, Friday, you ended up seeing a pretty interesting set of matches, as you ended up seeing a fun straight set win by Zverev, where the match was very close. It was definitely a very high level. Alcaraz did miss a pretty open court there on the set point in the first set. Then it got broken immediately in the first game of the second set, or the first service game, and then Zverev held as he got the job done there, 6-4 in the second set. Ruud, though, against Rublev was fun. First set was competitive, so the second set, and then Rublev was out of gas, and Ruud ended up burying him in the third set, 6-2. But once again, we had 2 separate 3-setters, which is definitely a nice change of pace, but overall a nice sweep for the picks once again for the lock and dog. Got everything right, basically, with the exception of Fritz winning in straight sets, as he won in 3. But overall, like the over in the Ruud match, liked Ruud to win, and that worked out. So overall, can't complain. Nice sweep there again for the lock and dog. Now let's hopefully get some more winners here in the Saturday matches. Now, before we get into that, I do want to quickly look at the comment section for a second. I see Education saying nice plays, appreciate it. Andrew's talking about Zverev's been a wagon. Yes, he has. And as a result, do you want to recap what happened actually for the outrights that we had for the groups? Because a reminder, we actually gave out a couple of group winners for the outrights. And to get into those, did have a couple picks, though, for the first group. We did like Sinner by far as the favorite to win the actual Group A. Did mention Fritz, though, at around 6-1 as the longer shot. Came in second place, but we did have Sinner at minus 180, and that got there, never really in doubt. For Group B, though, Alcaraz at plus 100 and Zverev at 200. Thought it was basically in an arbitrage situation where either Alcaraz or Zverev were guaranteed to win the quarter. Zverev did, so cashed a nice plus 200 bet with that. For the outrights, a reminder, we did not take Alcaraz, so we actually have a 50% chance based on the field, but a lot higher when you factor in the quality of opposition that Sinner and Zverev have remaining, because we have Sinner at 145 and we have Zverev at 7-1 as our only outrights left for the event. So once again, a great overall group stage for us. So let's keep it rolling here for the matches on Saturday. Now, before we get into the actual matches for Saturday, do want to remind you once again that we have a lot of great overall shows on the network, and a reminder that you can access all of them on the SGPN app, because if you have not downloaded the app, you're missing out. SGPN app will give you access to all the podcasts on the network and a picks page in one convenient app. And a reminder, you can also like the content that our app is providing, because it's completely free. And a reminder, you can type in the SGP overall name or acronym into the App Store to download it today. A reminder that we are also brought to you by MyBookie, because MyBookie is a great overall book to try out. And a reminder that SGPN started out with MyBookie, and now we are back using it. Check out the new and improved website, great on mobile as well. They have props in every game. They have live dealer casino, even new early cash out options. And a reminder, head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus, a match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Just finished recapping what happened in the Thursday and Friday matches. Time to move on into the semifinal matches here for Saturday. Starting off with the actual first match on the card, you have a matchup between Zverev and Fritz. Now, Fritz had an extra day off because he ended up finishing his group on Thursday, and then Zverev had to play a two-set war against Alcaraz on Friday. Now, Zverev's a massive favorite. He's around minus 280. As for Fritz, he's around plus 230. For the spread here, minus 2.5 for Zverev, plus 2.5 for Fritz. For the over-under in games, you have around 23.5. A little bit of plus money there on the over. For the set spread, Zverev in straight sets plus 110. Fritz won 8 sets minus 140. The over 2.5 sets is plus 150. Now, they've actually faced off a lot this year, and Fritz has been quite successful against the two of them, or in these matchups. So they faced off in started off with Rome, and you saw Fritz lose that one in straight sets. So on clay, Zverev beat him. However, Fritz was able to beat him in Wimbledon in 5 sets after losing the first 2, beat him in the U.S. Open in 4 sets, and also beat him in the Laver Cup in straight sets. So the point is, Fritz has been kind of dominant, especially over the last couple months after losing in Rome in the first meeting of the season. Point is, though, Fritz has won the last 3. He's won 4 of the last 5. Can he pull off the upset? In theory, yes. Am I picking him to? No, I am not. I think that Zverev's playing too good of a level right now for Fritz to handle, and I think that Fritz dropping a set to de Minaur tells me that he's still not on the same level as Zverev at this point in time. Now, yes, he did win in a couple of Grand Slam events, and he also was able to look sharp on hard court against Zverev, but I have to at least factor in how good Zverev's been winning the Paris Masters without really dropping many sets. He only dropped 1 in the entire tournament. He's won every match here in straight sets. Beat Alcaraz on Friday. I think he's just better than Fritz. I understand the head-to-head's going to disagree with that, but I think that based on the current form, I think you should win in straight sets, maybe a tiebreak in there. Fritz, if he hits the first serve percentage on a pretty decent, I'd say, percentage, then he should be able to get the job done in this one, or at least to win a set. But I think barring that happening, I think that Zverev will be able to get pretty deep into some return games. Fritz, not so much, and Zverev's been serving very well in the event so far. Give me Zverev to win this one. I think comfortably, actually. I think that straight sets is appealing at plus 110. Don't mind the minus 2.5 games here. I feel like most people will blindly consider taking Fritz based on how the head-to-head has been going recently over the last few months. But Zverev's a different animal right now. I think he's been great. He was kind of up and down a bit during the summer, and now it seems like he's back fully on track as Zverev has been rolling lately with wins once again over Alcaraz, against Ruud, and against really just some decent competition, beating Rublev, who I know has been a mess too, but he has not dropped a set yet in the entire event. In fact, if you actually include the matches in the Paris Masters, he's won 6 straight matches in straight sets. So give me a similar story here, plus 110. I'll go with Zverev to get the job done in 2 sets. Moving on to the next matchup. You have Sinner against Ruud. Massive favorite. Sinner's minus 1,800. Ruud's around 10-1. For the over-under, you have 19.5 games or 20.5. For the set spread, you have Sinner in straight sets at minus 385. Ruud to win a set is plus 310. Over 2.5 sets is plus 350. Faced off 3 times, Sinner's 3-0. In fact, he's never dropped a set. So you are expecting Ruud, who had a pretty long match against Rublev, to struggle against Sinner. Not his fault. Sinner, we know, has been the best player here by far. But the point is, Sinner has been on the warpath dating back a couple months at this point, and he's a hardcore genius. You're looking at Ruud, though, who's been in really bad form lately. Has looked good, though, in the event. Beat a compromised Alcaraz, who was sick, and he also ended up beating Rublev in 3 sets on Friday. But Sinner's an absolute machine. I can't go against him. I picked him to win every match here in straight sets, and now he has Ruud as a minus 1,800 favorite, basically. I think he's going to win in straight sets. So trying to find value is a bit tricky. The under can be interesting because there were a couple of 7-5 or 7-6 sets between them, but that was dated a couple years, and Sinner has drastically improved the serve. So I do think that he might not get broken in the entire match, but I think you're looking at a Sinner probably winning this one comfortably. 5.5 games a lot, though. Don't mind the Ruud team total under. I think that 7.5 is a bit high. think you might end up getting a 6-4, 6-3, maybe a rout in there. But Ruud does return pretty deep on the court. I think Sinner can volley. I think he'll be able to take control of the points by pushing Ruud around. And Ruud's first serve can kind of dip occasionally when it comes to accuracy. And his second serve is not the greatest. So give me Sinner to win this one comfortably. I see similar scoreline to what we've seen in his matches so far in this event. For example, mostly we've seen some 6-3, 6-4s, give or take. But if you're asking me for my actual prediction here, I think I am going to go 6-3, 6-4, something like that. Give me the under for Ruud team total in this one. Sorry, but that I wasn't really going to go with much, I'd say, shock. I think that it was a pretty straightforward pair of matches, taking the two best players on the overall field by a mile, with Sinner and Zverev, who have been great, not dropping a set yet, beating good competition. Think that you're looking at a spot where Ruud is happy to be here. He's going to try to pull off the upset, but I really don't see his, I'd say, overall arsenal challenging Sinner that much. I think Sinner pushes him around the court. I think the deep returning position is going to come back to bite Ruud. I'll go with Sinner to probably not get broken in this match. Give me Sinner in straight sets once again, while Ruud goes under the team total of 7.5. That's going to wrap it up, though, for the matches here on Saturday. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. But for that, though, want to remember once again, they're brought to you by Fantasy because they have a lot of great items in their pick menu. They have the NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, tennis, and more. You can also use your boost and your specials on all flex entries, and I'll probably do something for NFL Sunday. For this one, I'm trying to think of what I want to do with this match, or I should say the slate of games, because there are a couple options here for NFL Sunday. For this one, you know what? Give me Mac Jones higher half an interception in this game against Detroit. Then they fall behind early, have to abandon the run, and I think you're going to end up seeing the Lions look pretty sharp defensively in that game. But a reminder, check out the platform, because when you do sign up, use the promo code SGPN to get a $1,000 deposit bonus in bonus cash. Reminder, like fantasy promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. A reminder that Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sportsman platform to provide bettors all the ability to build custom predictive models in seconds. You can also get predictions on every money line, spread, totals, and props. And a reminder, you can also build your own model, copy one from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build one for you. You track props on the app. A reminder, you can also use it for NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and the NBA. Rhythm has it all. And a reminder, try it out for free for a week, 7 in for trial by going to sportsgames.com. Rhythm, sportsgames.com, RATHMM. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Gun Podcast. Just finished getting into the preview for the Saturday singles matches, and now it's time for the lock and dog picks. For the lock, I am going to go back to that Sinner and Ruud match. He's a massive favorite, about minus 1,800. He's won every match in straight sets against Ruud. Not going to overthink this one. Give me Ruud a team total under 7.5 at minus 112. Saw 6.5 going around, so make sure you take the 7 before the line moves. But I think it's a good price. It's on Bet Rivers. Ruud, though, has not done well in the head-to-head. He's won less than 7 games in each of the last 2 head-to-head meetings, so Sinner's been good against him recently, and he has been really unbeatable on hard courts for the last couple of months. I think it's a bad matchup for Ruud. Plus, Sinner has casually won 27 of his last 28 matches, 27-1, and he also has won 8 of his last 10 matches in straight sets. I think Ruud is a dead man walking here. I think Sinner's going to bury him again. Give me Ruud a team total under 7.5 to get, I'd say, buried in this matchup. Maybe 6-3, 6-3, but 7.5 does feel a bit high to me. I am going to go with the under, even if there is a 7-5 or in theory a 7-6. It's not out of the realm of possibility after a 3-set marathon on Friday that Ruud might run out of gas if he's against Sinner in peak form. Give me Sinner to dominate. And give me Ruud team total under 7.5 as my lock at minus 112. For the dog, though, I am going to go with a risky play because of Fritz's head-to-head success against Zverev over the last few months. But based on the form I've seen in this event, I think Zverev's the better player right now, being #2 in the world. Give me Zverev in straight sets at plus 110. He's won 6 straight matches in straight sets, and Zverev right now is playing, in my opinion, his peak tennis. I know he made a deep run in the French Open earlier this year to the final. I know he made the U.S. Open final in COVID a couple years ago. Point is, though, Zverev has been playing some great tennis. #2 in the world, won every match here in straight sets, looked great against Alcaraz, and I thought that Fritz struggled against de Minaur, who was in really bad form for basically the entire tournament. Give me Zverev to dominate here. I think it might be close for a set, maybe a breaker, but I think Zverev gets revenge. I think that he's playing great on these courts, and I think that he is once again the second best player in the field behind Zverev. So I am going to go with Zverev to win this one in straight sets at plus 110, mostly for the number. I think that for a guy being about a minus 280 favorite, I think plus 110 is a good way to reduce the juice there. Give me one competitive set, but I think that Zverev ends up eventually getting it done 7-6, 6-4, give or take, but I like the price. I'll go with it as my dog. So once again, the plays here for the Saturday semifinal matches in the ATP Finals is going to be the lock featuring Ruud. Team total under 7.5 games, minus 112. For the dog, I'm going to go with Zverev to win in straight sets at plus 110 against Fritz. That's going to wrap it up. A reminder, you can find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio. Find me on this show for the next episode, which will be the ATP Final, the title match, probably between Sinner and Zverev. We'll see what happens. Point is, though, we are looking at 2 hours that we have left with Sinner and Zverev. Hopefully, at least one of them get through. If both get through, automatically win. So that is a good sign. We'll be back, though, to get into that matchup in a day or so. Till next time, find me on Twitter. Find me on the NBA show. Find me on the WNBA show as well. And a reminder, find me on the MLB show. And a reminder, don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube. Reminder, you can also leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. Till next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.